Good afternoon and welcome to Editors Forum, the program where we discuss latest issues, current issues from a journalist's point of view. We'll discuss virtually anything. There's no topic off limit on this program. It is on Galaxy Television every Saturday from 1 to 2. I'm Solomon Offen. The Sars protests, have opened up a number of questions and discussions in Nigeria, and we do sincerely hope that these questions and discussions will lead to a better Nigeria. Some states have inaugurated a panel of inquiry with the idea of healing the nation. But today we'll be focusing on the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry, where they started an investigation. It was inaugurated on October 27. And the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, begins a call for the regulation of the social media space. This is what's going to be talking about today on Editors Forum. My name is Solomon Offen. We'll go for a break. I have my guests. When we come back, I'll introduce them and we'll start talking. Don't go away. Today on Editors Forum, we have Inyamgul Agaji. He's a broadcast journalist. He was here with us last week, Saturday, and he's here again. Good to have you join us on the program today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You're gradually becoming a regular here. You need to get a register for regular.
Okay, I see.
I also have Mr. Victor Anya. He's a public affairs analyst. Once upon a time, we did this program some donkey years ago. Yes. Good to have you join us again. It's been a while. It's good to see you again on the program.
It's a reunion.
Exactly, a reunion.
Yeah, many thanks for inviting me once again.
Okay, let's just quickly go straight to what we're going to be talking about today. The Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry and Restitution set to look into brutality and high-handedness of the now disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad SARS unit of the Nigerian Police Force has visited the military hospital in Falomo, in the Ikoyi area of Lagos State. The panel was inaugurated on October 27. Members of the panel were initially denied access but later allowed into the premises after about 30 minutes. After they were allowed into the premises, they were taken to a building said to be the military hospital. Members of the panel also visited a detached building at the back of the hospital. According to the military authorities, the hospital and morgue have been under renovation since October 2019 and have not been in use. The visit was shortly after the panel went for an inspection at the Lekki toll gate to make more findings concerning last week's shooting incident. Led by Justice Doris Okobi, retired, the panel, which also included youth representatives Renu Odulala and Temitope Majekudume, interrogated the toll gate officials about the condition of their security cameras and other equipment. Okay, gentlemen, as I said in my introduction, the protest has opened up a lot of debate and discussion. And of course, Lagos here, where a lot happened, especially with the shooting of the toll gate, the state government decided to inaugurate a panel of inquiry. This is supposed to be a healing process, as it were. What do you make of it?
Well, in Nigeria, a lot of things that we find, we more or less just resign to hope that it is going to turn out well. Judicial panel of inquiry has been set, like you said, but because of the insincerity of government over the years, a lot of us are still askance. We're still just looking at them to say, okay, let's hope that this one is going to work, because most times money is just being spent for groups like this to be set up, and at the end of the day, we find nothing. We remember even the Okuta panel that was set up to address issues before that time that it was set, and people came out to testify I don't know how that panel's report was used for the healing process that it was supposed to be used for. I don't know how any other panel has been used. If there will be the political will to follow through on the report that will come out of this place, that will be fine. But you know, this panel was set up by a government that, first of all, the way we saw it, lied to the people about the facts of whatever has been happening and all that, which means even after forming this panel of inquiry, there might be some things that they want to hold back. But let's hope that as they go about doing the job that they are supposed to do, they will be open enough for the public to have the confidence that whatever the result will be will also really ultimately lead to the healing that they want.
Well, I think it's another means of creating jobs for the boys. That's the way I see it, because at the end of the day, we'll be told that hundreds of billions might have been spent for that panel, and at the end of the day, nothing will come out of it. This is not the first time we have been hearing about panels. Even during the days of Abacha, he set up a judicial panel of inquiry into the billions of naira that we got during the Gulf War under the government of IBB at that time, whereby it was Pius Okigbo.
But that was a military rule. You know, what about in civilian rule or the democracy as it
doesn't. Is there difference between democracy and military rule in this country? There's no difference. If you look at the way the person who is leading us today, was he not a military general? If you compare and contrast the way he led us between 1984 to 1985, is there any difference? There's no difference. It's always an oppressive system, and that's what we are experiencing today. So whether under military or not, there is no difference, because we are told that once a soldier is always a soldier. The characteristics of a military is already built in them, and they will not remove it. It's just the uniform. They remove the uniform and they are now wearing flowing agbada. That is the difference. If not, the attitude, the way they do things is the same thing. So even apart from that, there are other panels that have been set up in this country. And at the end of the day, did we see any result? We had a conference in this country under Basajo. He set up a conference that time, you know, to look into the constitution. At the end of the day, what became of it? Jonathan in 2014, he set up a conference. Before he left office, all the recommendations, none of them was implemented. Today we are all crying that we should revisit that the recommendations of that conference. So it's always like that. So we are not just prophets of doom that just like to castigate this country. We are talking based on what we have seen in this country. History. We are talking based on history. At the end of the day, you will see that nothing will come out of it. It's just going to be a jamboree. Some of the people, Nigerians, you know that they are bigger. They are bigger than the country. During the Oputa panel, by IBB was invited. Did he go? He didn't go, and nothing happened. In other countries, such a person would have been prosecuted and sent to jail. We see leaders of other countries that are being taken to court, and if they are found guilty, they are sent to jail. Has any president been taken to court in this country? The answer is no. The best that has ever happened is either they take a former governor or minister to court over issue of corruption. The question I ask is that...
And usually it's political.
It's political. The question I keep asking is that how come that former president are not being taken to court? Is it that they are above board? Is it that they are holier than other persons? It's only in this country that such thing happen. So nothing will happen because some people are above the law. Don't be surprised that some people will be invited to that panel and they will refuse to come and nothing will happen. So when you have a country where you have different rules for different people, then such a country cannot progress. Look at now. Governors that hoarded the palliative are now saying that they gave ultimatums in some state. They gave 72 hours to the citizens to return the things they have looted, and with a condition that if they don't return those things, they will move from house to house to go and recover those things. The question we are asking such governors is this: why did you move from house to distribute this thing? We were told during the lockdown when we were crying that we are dying of hunger. Some people told us that during wartime you don't eat. And I asked them, during wartime you don't eat. And Nigeria fought war for 3 years. Are you telling me that the people that were born that time, they starved for 3 years? When you are telling us that during wartime you don't eat.
And that wasn't the time for war, definitely.
And we are not even fighting war. And even during wartime, people eat. It depends on where you find yourself. People in government, they eat to the fullest. Even in this country where we are being told that during wartime you don't eat. The dogs, the food they are using, these big men government, the food they use in feeding their dogs can feed 1 million of us for a whole year. The food they eat, their dogs. So there was a minister in this country at a point in time that he was using a live ram to feed his lion. He had a lion, a minister. How many of us have access to eat a ram? But one man was using live ram to feed a lion each day. So what am I saying? This panel, nothing will come out of it because we have different rules, different laws guiding this country. Some people are above the law. It is only with the common people that they can easily hurry and push to the court and get justice for themselves. But those who are privileged, who are above the law, they will invite them, they will not come. And nothing will happen to them because these are the people that pay the dues. These are the people that donate money to help governor to win election, to help a president to come to power. So once they say, my friend, I'm not going, nothing will happen. And that is why the country is where we are today. So my brother, nothing will come out of it. Go and write it down. In the next 2 years, we will make reference to it that a panel was set up in different parts of the country when issue of Sars protests took place and
protesters were shot. And the panels were set up to find out how to curb such future occurrences. We will make reference to it that, my brother, did anything happen to the one they set up in Lagos, in Delta, in Rivers, in Kogi? We make reference to it, just as I have made reference to Oputa panel. I also made reference to the panel set up to probe the $12.5 billion, which was called oil windfall, Gulf oil windfall, under Abacha's government. The chairman of that panel was late Professor Pius Okigbo. Did you get anything out of it? The answer is no. So it's a waste of time. What we should do is to ensure now that they have scrapped Sars. Anybody that is killed by a police officer, either Sars or SWAT, whatever destination or definition or name that are called, Nigeria should rise up to that police station and ask why. And the person involved must give account. That is the solution. Because this thing has been happening. Somebody is using a police uniform, using army uniform, they call us bloody civilian. Can everybody be a military man? Can everybody be a lawyer? No. That is why some people will be police officers, some will be army officers, some will be doctor, because all of us cannot be in one profession. If all of us were to be police officers, who will be the doctor? If you are sick, who will treat you in the hospital? If all of us were to be army officers, who will be the lawyer that will defend you in the court? So this myopic view of calling other people bloody civilian must be erased from their thinking faculty. It's a wrong way of perceiving your fellow citizens, because the job you are doing empowers you to carry gun. That means other people are not carrying gun, they are bloody civilian. It's only in Nigeria you hear such slogans. Somebody, a police officer will arrest you, is slashing your back. You say, what is my offense? He will not allow you to speak. We will slap you because it's carrying gun. That is abuse of power. Okay, if I, as a journalist, because I can write, I have access to the television, to radio, and the newspaper. I just saw you, I saw your name tag. I just pick my Bible and say, Inspector so, he's armed robber. He has stolen so, and I publish it. How would they feel? That is exactly what they are doing to us by not allowing us to express ourselves. We cannot be called a bloody civilian.
we are doing our job, they are doing their own job, they should respect themselves as we are respecting ourselves. So what should be done is to find a note of warning that we will not tolerate extrajudicial killing in this country anymore. Enough is enough.
Yeah, but that's what the panel is supposed to be for. Now, there was an incident yesterday where the panelists, the panel members, they visited, a number of, scene in this whole end SARS melee. Of course, they went to the toll gates, and when they got to the military hospital to inspect the morgue, for about 30 minutes they were not allowed in. The saying was that they didn't pass through the proper channel, and they weren't allowed to enter the morgue because they said the morgue has not been in use since October 2019. What do you make of such incident? And of course, the social media was, buzzing that, okay, I think they are trying to clear up evidence, while they are keeping the people, by the gate,
Let me start by saying, like I said in the opening, that everything is just hope for the better. We hope that this panel will do a good job, because we hear that Sherlock Holmes was a good investigator, but we know that a minister who was former governor in Nigeria is a better investigator. He found a camcorder in a place that was cleaned before that time. And yesterday also, when the panel visited the toll gate, that place that was supposedly wiped clean of all those kind of evidences, they still went there and found shells in plain sight. So our people are so good. So they will find out what the truth is about this matter. But like they say, when dry bones are mentioned, some people begin to fidget because they think they are referring to them. I see no reason why somebody who is not hiding anything, any skeleton in his cupboard, will prevent people who have come to ask questions. That is not like a search, that they're coming to search your premises because there is incrimination. We came to ask questions and maybe just verify for ourselves these kind of things that we have seen or we've heard, because if there was information, intelligence, like they claim, that place has some information that they need. If you send a message to that place maybe 2 days before the time that you're going there,
it will defeat the purpose.
That is the thing, and that's what.
So it was supposed to be an unscheduled visitation.
So now this panel has been given, according to what they said, has been given presidential order, as it were, given all the rights, and they have asked all the other panels of inquiry in other states and elsewhere to give all the support that this panel in Lagos especially needs, because this is where the problem really started. Okay, and these people, that means they have that right to come ask you a question, and they come and you stop them at the gate. That means there's something. So, well, maybe we're just assuming, but I find no tangible reason why someone should stop someone who has come to ask a question at the gate, when you could have just taken him to that empty space to say, this place has been under renovation and there's nothing that has been happening in this place. So now, no matter what the outcome is, that incident has given a dent. It has given a dent to this investigation, because the investigation must have been compromised. That's what the average person will be thinking about.
Because all of a sudden the morgue is under renovation since last year.
All of a sudden. So now there's a gap. People claimed, those who were at Lekki toll gate that night, claimed that when the soldiers shot these people, they were carrying some of the corpses. And if they were carrying some of the corpses, they wouldn't take any of those corpses to a regular morgue. It should be in their own hospital. And now people have come to prove that it didn't happen that way. You prevent them. So a lot of us will find it very difficult to believe whatever will now be the evidence that will come from the army hospital or some other places that they needed to visit and were not allowed to go.
Yes, sir.
Well, strange things are happening in this country, and we'll continue to experience strange things. How can a military hospital be put under renovation for a whole year? Where have they been treating their injured officers or those who are sick among them? Because the hospital was set up to take care of the among them. So for 1 year, because October 2019 to October this year now, is 1 full year. So where have they been taking their sick people to? These are the questions we must ask them.
That will be the dead body.
No, he said the hospital.
Yeah.
Not only the morgue. We are listening to what they said. They said the hospital has been under renovation. Not only the morgue, the hospital. That was what I read. They didn't say only the morgue. They said the hospital has been under renovation for 1 year. Precisely October 2019 till now. Tell me where they renovate hospital for 1 year. 12 good months. Except Nigeria. And where have they been taking their sick people to? Which hospital have they been taking their sick people to? So there's no way they will be able to disabuse our mind over the perception that something is being hidden. That is the message being sent to the general public. And again, stopping the members of the panel from accessing that place in the first place, 30 minutes.
There's a lot of time.
That is a wrong message. Because if you have nothing to hide, why should you stop a panel that has come to to investigate the situation, either to be able to vindicate you because you said that you were never there. That was the initial position the army took, that they were never there. When pressure began to mount on them, they said they were invited by the governor and they did not shoot. These were the things they told us. Okay, now the bullet shells that were found in that place, how did they come about? These are very easy something to investigate because all bullet shells, they have number. They have the sources of where they buy them from. So these are very easy something to investigate. It's not a rocket science. So at the end of the day, we will get to the end of this matter. But the recommendation be implemented, that is the problem. As we have said before, at the end of the day, we may get to the end of the matter, but recommendation will be made and they may be thrown into the trash can or that very big carpet in Nigeria that has always been swallowing recommendation. At the end of the day, they say they swept it under the carpet. They have always been sweeping things under the carpet in Nigeria since I was born, or even before I was born. They sweep things under the carpet. I have not seen that carpet. I don't know how big it is. So that is it. So the military did not do well by stopping the member of the panel. If they did not have anything to hide, they should have just allowed them to go. 30 minutes is a big time to hide anything. Assuming the hospital was not under renovation as they claim. You can use 30 minutes to evacuate corpses from the morgue if we want to hide something. 30 minutes is enough to do that. So why should they do that? They have sent a very wrong message. And I don't think it's good of them to do that.
Yeah, from people who initially even said whatever videos were coming out on the social media were photoshopped. Yeah, so they were photoshopped, and their PRO nationally said something like that, and then they denied that they were not there, and then so many things don't add up, and now you deny the people that could have vindicated you. It's like he said, a very wrong message.
And videos can be verified, can't they?
Yes, they can.
They can be verified.
They can be verified.
They can be authenticated.
Yeah, now the LCC has said that there are videos, their CCTV camera can be accessed and all that. I don't know if there will be a forensic analyst within that panel that can tell if a video has been doctored or not, because nowadays anything is possible. I could be talking with my face and with my voice, but I'm not the one.
But it can be verified.
But it can be verified.
It can be verified,
so
yes.
if that kind of expert is not there, if an independent person also is not brought to that panel to give credence or credibility rather to that panel,
to authenticate these videos,
it will be a difficult thing for Nigerians to believe. And if we start to disbelieve every single thing that comes from government, then it will be two people now, the government and the people. And that would be a bad thing for us.
Because part of the job of the panel was to recommend compensation for the victims of that SARS, because both sides of the divide lost people, the protesters and policemen. that were burnt alive, with the police stations burned, properties, private properties and government properties destroyed, they're supposed to recommend compensation. How do you think this panel, achieve this healing? That is, if there will be political interference or government interference, as it were, to the outcome of that panel.
No amount of money, I don't know if I can comment there, no amount of money can make up for the life that has been lost. But to restore confidence in the people, the first thing, heads have to roll. There are people who need to be held accountable. Before you even talk about how much money you're going to give to a family owner, let us know that there are people who were responsible for this and they are going to face justice. Because
jobs to be lost, people to be jailed.
Whatever it takes to show that there is justice in this case. Because when you talk about compensation, who will you be compensating? It is now, we've heard that it's about 73 people. 73 people, mind you, will be the ones that they have seen. There are those that may not have been seen. There are those that may have jumped into the lagoon. There are those that may have sustained so much injuries because of the stampede that they will die on a later date. There are those who may have heard the news and they knew that their children could have been there and died of a heart attack. How are you going to find out all of this? So you're talking 73. 73 that is officially accepted figure. But I tell you, if an official figure comes out as 73, it could be double that number of the people that we don't even know. So how? They should start looking at how they can do something that will be universal enough to show the people who lost something or someone that justice has been done. Otherwise, no money, even in millions, that you can give families and get the satisfaction that people want to get because of this incident.
Well, I think we have always advocated for prevention. Prevention is far better than cure, as we were told.
And the prevention is supposed to be part of the job of the panel. How do we stop this
that is
that
is for future, not for now. What has happened. But that could have been prevented at a point in time when the peaceful protest was going on, and there were insinuations that the army was going to be invited, and we shouted to the rooftop that we did not need the army to intervene, that this was it was a civil protest, that we did not need the army, and they did not listen to us. Look at what has happened. We are now counting our losses. It was the invitation of the army and the killing at Lekki that provoked the massive looting and burning of police station. He started before that, and there was nothing like that.
It was peaceful protest.
It was a peaceful protest. But certain politicians hijack it. Not even the hoodlums. We saw SUV cars. The videos are all over the places where they were using big cars, expensive cars.
In Abuja, folks were attacking protests.
Yes.
And there was
they were carrying them in their cars. After attacking the peaceful protesters, they will now carry them to another spot.
Kept going on peacefully until that shooting.
Even in Lagos, there were thugs or alleged thugs that came to disrupt a protest, and they were in a BRT bus. So whether they use their money to rent the bus or not, the impression is that government had a hand in it. So how can all these thugs organize themselves, go to BRT, hire a bus, and come to disrupt a protest? There are questions that people are asking. They may not be true, but they are questions that people are asking that need genuine answers. And before we continue, we need to know that now everybody is blaming Sars protesters. There are three categories of people that we should be talking about. The protesters that started on a peaceful note and they were demanding genuine things. The police is just a front. The police is just a symbol of the corruption that is embedded in this society right now. Okay, so they started off peacefully. The second group of people are those that wanted vengeance, a revenge of whatever happened at the toll gate. They may not be hoodlums, but they were pained by what had happened. And then the third group of people are outright hoodlums. They had nothing to do with the protest. They had nothing to do with the kind of pain that people felt when they first burned some things and vandalized a lot of things. But now everybody or in authority that should have been talking to these people and saying, we've heard you, no matter how it is, let's try to reason together, is now blaming the Sars protesters, which means the three groups have been collapsed into one. The Sars protesters are the ones who wanted to revenge, are the ones who are looting everything, and now that the IGP is telling the police that were told to be civil in the society and they were doing anyhow. Policeman can stop you and point a gun at you because you were speaking English. Like, who will they talk that kind of grammar to? And he's pointing a gun at you for speaking English. Somebody is looking at his phone because a policeman is not addressing him, he's addressing the next person, and you're looking at your phone. It's a crime. They point a gun at you. These are people that were not asked to defend themselves. Now they have been asked to defend themselves, which means no matter how much we try to make that look good, a lot of them will still see that as a license to misbehave because they too have rights. But they are supposed to be the ones that will show us the kind of rights that we have and help us live peacefully with one another. But they have been told that. And nobody made any mention about the people. So if the police have been given the authority to defend themselves, which they are going to abuse, what will the people need to do? Do we fold our hands when the police will be using that opportunity to deal with us the way they deem fit? Or are we going to fight back?
Now going back to square one,
so
and why
begin
the
to
protest
fight
started
back,
in the first place.
Exactly. So it's a dicey situation.
You see, when I heard that statement from the Inspector General of Police, I was taken aback because
probably he's coming out of from the place of him losing some men. Losing some policemen. I mean, policemen were killed.
No, he condemned the Sars protesters that have been looting and destroying property. You see what it is? Sars protesters that have been looting. And like I said, there are three types of people. Now, the looters are the very last, the third, as far as I am concerned.
And
now you're calling all of them.
And those ones came in after the shooting.
Yes, they took advantage of the situation and did what they did. Now you're calling all of them together so that even if there's a criminal among them that everybody will accept, that if you need to shoot at, do so. If you need to arrest, do so. You are now also calling the other innocent people that came with genuine demands as the criminals. That's the implication I see, which means if it is to shoot aside any criminal that you see vandalizing or stealing things, these Sars protesters are also part of it, which shouldn't be. You have to separate these people, know who is who and what who is capable of doing. But if you lump everything together and blame them that you are the ones looting, I think they will miss the point. And we will come back to square one, or maybe worse.
Well, let's just hope the panel of inquiry will indeed help in healing the nation. I mean, well, if there's no political interference, as I said before.